What's on, where, and when. It's the Talk of Nelson. Talk Nelson Radio.
Welcome to Football Focus, where we cover all things football in the top of the South. I'm Chris Butler, and welcome back to my co-host, Paul Bryden. Welcome back, mate.
G'day, Chris. How are you? Long time no see. I saw you last night.
The Prostate Cup champion.
Keep winning things. Won the local league and we won the Prostate Cup last night.
You've only just turned up once and you walked away with the cup.
I must admit that's the first time I've done walking football.
Yes.
But Clarkey did say last week, Steve Clark, who was there last night, he said, look, you might enjoy it. And it was quite funny, actually, because as I said to you, I said, takes a bit to getting used to.
Yeah.
But once you get the hang of it, it's actually quite good. And it's...
Well, it kind of evens the playing field. It certainly gives a life to people over, certainly over 50. And certainly with people who've got quite a few niggles, it gives them a second life. But it's a bit of an equaliser too. I mean, you had a pretty good side. You had Ben Wright and Tom Marsden.
Battler, Stephen Humphries.
Yes, that's right.
Brendan Crichton.
Yeah.
His lovely wife.
Yeah. So...
Other lad from suburbs, forgot his name now, but...
Yeah, so, it was a good young side, but it's not that easy to put a few goals away, is it? Because it is a bit of a tactical game.
Well, it was quite funny because the first two games we played, we struggled. So we managed to get a draw and then another draw, and then we had this other team, our third game in that group, and we clicked. We just sort of, here we go, pass and move. And
you can't thread the ball. You can't.
It's got to go to feet.
It's got to go to feet. And I was talking to Waltz about it, and he was saying it's a great drill for the younger kids because it just gives you the ability to teach them, pass and move.
Yeah.
And yes, you can thread the ball in a game to run onto, but in this game you can't. So it teaches that ability in a short space to take it to feet, shield it, and then move, pass into a position to receive. So, so those skill sets are quite good.
Yeah, I still think it's catered for people my age.
Definitely.
I think with futsal,
yes,
indoor soccer, futsal's huge now around the world. That's probably good for the youngsters.
Yeah.
But certainly walking football, good for the, mid to late 40s, even up to 70.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember Tim Skinner's father.
Yeah.
He was playing six-a-side down at Guppy Park up till I know he passed away just recently.
Yes.
Rest in peace. But he just loved it. So he would, at his age, I don't know how he was, late 70s, he probably would have enjoyed walking football.
He would have loved that. Yeah, that's right.
He would have loved it. And I think there's an opportunity for people, even, over into your 70s, it's a great opportunity to get exercise. And the other thing too, you actually perspire, you do sweat.
You do.
I was quite sore this morning when I woke up. I went,
Those muscles haven't felt that.
Well, and plus it's a hard ground, but different to the old grass. It's got a bit of give in the grass, but was the thing. But no, it was good fun, and it was good for a good cause. And they raised quite a bit of money for prostate cancer. So.
Yeah, $2,500 for prostate cancer. Had a couple of guys come down to talk to us about their experience, and basically the message is early detection. So make sure you go and get a blood test at least once a year.
It's all about that PSA test. Yes. I actually just had one recently because I got a bit of blood pressure and that came back fine. So I'm quite pleased about that.
Yeah.
And I think, in your own mind, something's not right down there. So just man up and go and sort it. And if you just go and talk to someone, go and talk to your best mate, go and talk to your wife, go and talk to your boss or whoever and just say, look, because I think people are quite open to those sort of things these days.
The thing that struck me last night was he told us about himself, who's a survivor, and a couple of his friends who aren't, and the difference was early detection. It's the fact they left it too late. And there was one guy there last night who told his story, and he said, I'm the dummy, I left it too late. So go and get your annual checks and go and talk to your doctor, and certainly if you've got any symptoms, go and check it out, because if you get onto it early, you'll be certainly fine. I've got a mate who's in his 50s, he's gone and had an operation. He's all clear now,
and
loving life. So, I mean, it does give you a second wind if you get onto it. Okay, well, that's great. Congratulations to you guys for taking the cup away. In this week's show, we're going to be talking about Southern League playoff game last Saturday, the Euros, the English Premiership, and also New Zealand football news, including the Chatham Cup. So let's talk about the game on Saturday at Guppy Park. FC Nelson, University of Canterbury, 3-2 up to FC Nelson. So I don't think if people were betting people that they would have picked that. But, man, what a great result.
Yeah, well, it was a good day. And look, I've always had confidence in our side that would put out there. And people tend to forget it's not just our first division team. We've got a community-based club. So there's the Carinis and the Chins we can borrow players from. And obviously Labu Pan's a key player.
Yeah.
And I don't think the university boys knew probably about him and Billy Scott, who's played National League, Labu's National League. Toto, great player in his day, young kid. He was at Racing Club in Argentina as an apprentice, so played a bit of mainland. So, yeah, we've got a bit of depth there. And I was talking to their coaches before the game, and I was I said, you should be right today. We've only played 14 games this year. Our league's not particularly strong. You've obviously had 21 games and a lot harder. And whether they took it easy, I don't know. But I think they probably did a wee bit. But look, we came out and just stuck to our plan and worked really hard. Look, it's all about getting behind the ball. End of the day, it's how you defend. It's what you do without the ball. I know we've got players that can cause problems going forward, like Labu, Jermaine, Abanash, people like that. But it's what we do defensively, and I thought we defended really, really well. And I was actually 3-1 up. I went, here we go.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they scored they broke out from a corner and a couple of missed tackles. But anyway, we go down there. We've got a goal advantage, and but it's all different this week. It's completely different scenario for us.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think what struck me about that game was the fact that the boys were able to hold their own against that side. They took their opportunities. I thought sometimes perhaps outside the box, they didn't pull the trigger. They started to towards the end of the game. I thought also once it got a little bit niggly at the back, there was some, silly tackles, and certainly that penalty was a push and a shove. So the boys have got to watch that. Hold your discipline, hold your shape. We were a bit worried about the midfield, but I thought that Chris and TJ did a good job in there. And towards the end, I thought maybe we were getting a little bit tired, and there were some injuries. Labu went off. Thought Fredo had a great game, but he went off as well. And of course, Christchurch were going, hang on a minute. And they just had to really throw everything at you guys. And geez, the game kept on going on. I kept on looking at the watch going, come on. And there was another corner and then another corner.
Oh, well, the referee, he gave them one corner, which the ball came off the post, and then Lutz give them a corner, which we thought was a goal kick. So,
yeah.
And they cause us problems on corners. And that's one thing we work on. Can we stop getting crosses in? And can we just not concede corners or free kicks in our defensive third, because they're quite a big side.
Yeah.
And we're like, we've got some big solid boys at the back, but they're not overly tall. Their boys are a lot taller, and we've got a young goalkeeper, so he needs to be protected. But no, you're right. I was surprised. I actually thought we had probably more time on the ball. I thought they'd be a lot more, put a lot more pressure on us, but they didn't, and we tended to gave away a lot of ball unnecessarily. And I said to the lads Tuesday, I said, look, we actually had time on the ball where we could have created, and you're right. I think Labu a couple of times could have slipped Jermaine away. We could have pulled the trigger, but look, we got a few chances and got the result at the end of the day. So
so very positive.
Yeah.
So going down to Christchurch, expectations down there. What are your thoughts going into that match?
Well, we've got the same squad. Obviously, Torn P comes back into our squad. He was unavailable last week. We still haven't got Tang. They're still suspended. So I've had to make a call and left Campbell Banks out, unfortunately. So I'll stick with the youth on the bench. But Labu and Fredo are both recovered from injury, so they will start. So we might, but we played 3 at the back, 3-5-2. We're looking at playing 4-3-3 this week, putting an extra guy forward, because I don't think you can go out. We need to go out and try and win the game.
Yeah.
If we go there and try and park the bus and get behind the ball, it'll end up would be a disaster for us. It's not the way we set up. We like to be positive and honestly, the way if we play three up front with Lebu, Jermaine, and Abby, and just press a wee bit right from the word go, and then pinch a goal, well, that might put them under a bit of pressure. And
Abby will run all day.
Well, that's right. And the thing is,
Jermaine.
And the thing is, we've got Plan B, we've got Plan C. We're going to always go back to 3-4-3. We can go back to 3-5. It doesn't really matter.
No.
But at the end of the day, it's 10 against 10. We'll set up a wee bit differently. The boys are up for it. We'll have a light session tonight because. It's been a long season, and so we'll probably just.
I always find though, Bridie, it doesn't really matter what your lineup is, even if you're playing five at the back. If you got five at the back and you're going forward, you've all got to go because if you don't move forward, then there's that massive hole in the midfield. And they've certainly got a couple of good guys in the midfield there. Quite skillful. But if they don't have time on the ball, they're going to struggle. So if you're all going to go forward, you've all got to go. And I think you guys did that particularly well. Billy did lead that, lead the team that way. And the other aspect to that is if you're on defence, a couple have got to drop back and Abby's got to stay forward, which he did do. It just means that Lebu and Jermaine have got to do some work and come back a bit. So regardless of the line-out, you just got to do your work, don't you?
Yeah. Well, with the three at the back, because we got three, I call them three hippos. 3 hippopotamuses, Billy Scott, Toto, and Cunny, big lads. But I'll tell you what, they're all fit, they're strong, and they know how to defend.
Yeah.
And they're there and they protect our keeper.
Yeah.
He's particularly young Caden. So, and they're well organised and they stick together.
He did a good save, didn't he?
Yeah. He's a good keeper, Caden. And and just with the wing backs, Fredo and Tim Hewson, difficult role. So this week we're changing a wee bit. We're actually going to play a back four. So it will make Tim and Fredo just probably give them a bit more. They can still get forward, but it's that wing back position. You're sort of left wing, left midfield, left back. It's very difficult. Poor old Tim's only 16. He ran out of steam on Saturday, so we've got strong bench, young kids. So, but the trouble is down there. We've got to play an artificial, and we're away from home. Look, but it is what it is.
So, what's the difference with playing on the artificial? What are they going to struggle with on that artificial?
Well, the grounds are like it probably moves a bit quicker. But look, I've been down there with Sobers years ago, and I found that it's because the artificial pitch is it's millions and millions of little rubber balls,
right?
So it's really bouncy. Doesn't bounce properly. It sort of can bounce up and down. It's difficult for us because that's their home ground. They've played all their home games there this year, so that's a huge advantage for them. Foreign to us, even though a lot of the young lads have played on artificials in Christchurch, schoolboy tournaments, but it's going to be very, very different for them. But look, at the end of the day, it's still a pitch. You just have to adjust it. As you say, if you get behind the ball, work hard and take our chances and just do what you did on Saturday, we've got a chance.
Yeah. Well, good luck, Bridie.
No worries.
Travelling down tomorrow, we wish the guys all the best of luck and if you get through this one, then it's on to Dunedin, but got to get through this one first. Yeah. Okay. The Euros last weekend, and there was a lot of games, so we can't go through all of it. So we'll just look at the groups. But Scotland and Spain leading the way there. Scotland. Clarkey
actually
was a bit worried about that against Cyprus, but
they won 5-0, wasn't it? They won easy.
They did all right. Looks like France is doing it very comfortably in the Netherlands. England and Italy. Well, England drawing with Ukraine. So that was a big crowd. They played in Poland, didn't they? A huge Ukraine crowd there. So, but Ukraine, they're not a slouch side.
No. They're quite a good side.
Yeah, that's right. Croatia and Turkey up the top of Pool D. Who's that? Albania, right? Albania and Czech Republic at the top there. Belgium and Austria, Hungary and Serbia, and Slovenia and Denmark. But I don't think there's any major surprises there. Like Sweden seem to be doing it a little bit tough. Poland haven't sort of reached the heights of old.
Well, I'm sort of halfway through these Euros, so the next window, I think I'm not too sure when it is, end of October.
Yes,
they have another round. They have another round of games.
Yeah.
And I think in that window, All Whites are playing Australia in London.
Yes.
So that should be quite interesting. But There were some other interesting games too, like Germany, of course. They played Japan in a friendly, got beaten 4-1.
Yeah.
So that was the end of their coach. They sacked him.
Right.
And then it was quite funny because they've been struggling, Germany, with that coach. And then they've had France the other morning in a friendly, 1-2-0. And I think Rudi Völler took over for that game. But rumour has it they are looking at trying to appoint Jurgen Klopp from Liverpool because his contract's up at Liverpool. So that
is going to be interesting.
Watch that space. Yeah. Klopp's been at Liverpool for a while now. And he's so that's I've heard through strong rumours. Obviously, that's what they're looking at trying to appoint.
And I guess as a coach, I mean that would be the pinnacle, wouldn't it? Taking on an international side. Not sure that he's done that before. So
no, I think he's been club. Like he was at Dortmund, Liverpool. He's been at Liverpool for quite a while. They wouldn't want to release him because they were hovering there until Klopp turned up. Took them 2 or 3 years, but then they won it, and then they've always been there or thereabouts, especially in the Premier League and European competitions.
Switzerland, Romania in Group I, and Portugal and Slovakia in Group J. So, early days though, so the points are still quite close. And then we go into the English Premiership. We talked about that last week, but some of the games to watch out for, probably West Ham and Man City. That would be one to watch. Aston Villa and Crystal Palace. Aston Villa, they're thereabouts, aren't they? We're expecting some big things from them this year, but it's early days.
Yeah.
Newcastle and Brentford. That's going to be another close one. Manchester United and Brighton. And what else here? The rest are, well, who's to know? Chelsea and Bournemouth.
Well, I think
Bournemouth might tip them up.
I think Liverpool over Wolves. I think Tottenham should beat Sheffield United.
Yes.
Man United, Brighton, that could go either way.
Yeah.
Newcastle should beat Brentford. The Arse should win at Everton, but Everton, I watched Everton their last game, played really well. Fulham, if you don't win this one, but honestly, you could be right with your predictions.
Well, you see, Luton, the last game I saw, they lost the game, but they actually didn't play too bad. No. They played quite well. So, after that, Man City, I suppose you could argue that there's not much you can do against them, but hot and cold this year. But so there's some interesting games to watch this weekend.
Fantastic league.
New Zealand Football League, and the national draw is released, and it starts on September 23rd, both the men's and the women's. And there is a chart you can download off the website, although they do have the draw live on the website as well. And if we look at the teams in the women's division, Central Football taking on Western Springs, Ellerslie AFC versus Wellington Phoenix, Waterside Karori taking on Wellington United, Auckland United taking on Canterbury United, and Southern United taking on Eastern Suburbs. So I guess we'd have to say our home team there is the Canterbury Pride. And
yeah, it's interesting because they're all club sides apart from Canterbury United, Pride and Southern United. They're like franchise. But Geezer did mention that earlier. Oh, no, was it Skippy and them said that that's going to change next year. So, but for this particular league this year, I think who won the cup? Western Springs won the Kate Shepherd Cup last week. They beat Wellington United 2-1 in the final, so they must be one of the favourite sides. I imagine the Phoenix Girls would be quite strong. That's obviously the reserve team because the Phoenix first team girls playing the Women's A League. So, but good competition, and especially after the recent Women's World Cup, it'd be a bit of interest in that, and would be interesting to see what spectators turn up for it. So good league.
And then we've got the men's division. We've got Wellington Phoenix versus Auckland City. Manurewa taking on Wellington Olympic. Napier City Rovers still there after all these years, taking on Petone FC. Eastern Suburbs taking on Christchurch United, and Cashmere Technical taking on Auckland United. So,
well, it's quite interesting because Melville made the Chatham Cup final, but I think they finished sixth in the Northern Region. Yeah. It's the top four from Auckland, top four from Wellington, top two from Southern. So, look, the huge upset there's Petone. They've always been a Central League club and managed to make the top four in Wellington. Wellington Phoenix get the wild card.
Yes, yeah.
They're allowed in it
for
some unknown reason. I don't know why. I don't know where they got in the Central League this year, but they're already in there. So then you've got Napier, Petone, and also you've got Wellington Olympic. And, of course, Manurewa, famous National League club in the old days. They're back in it. Obviously, Auckland City is going to be the team to beat there. And obviously, Christchurch United, who've done particularly well this year. And Cashmere Tech, be good to see.
Yeah, and I suppose with the Phoenix, I mean, if you look at, say, something like Rugby League, the Warriors, their reserve side gets to play in the New South Wales Cup.
Yeah.
We don't, well, the A-League, as far as I know, they don't have a youth league, do they? So we don't get the opportunity to play on a regular, and I presume that's a deal with New Zealand football to say, well, we need to be having our academy of players playing on a regular.
Reason being it's because they're a professional club.
Yes.
And that's why they're allocated their reserves to play in the National League.
Yeah.
The Wellington Phoenix.
Yeah.
So, but the interesting thing, it's only one round.
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I said. Get this play, get it back to winter. So if you imagine you've had the National League in winter like the old days, you still got your Northern region, your Central region, and your Southern region. Then a team like Suburbs, because Cashmere Tech and Christchurch United will be in that National League.
Yeah, yeah.
So then Suburbs have a very high chance of actually cracking that National League because they're playing at the same time. So they have a chance of winning that Southern League. And then just bring in the promotion relegation. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah.
I like the concept with the clubs, but I still think we need to get away from that summer thing and go back to winter with National League and the three regional federations.
Yeah, I think Skippy was saying that there'd been some talk. There have been a couple of meetings about the structure, so it'd be interesting. I wonder, like, player stocks in a region like ourselves. So let's say that Suburbs play in the Southern League and FC get a team into the Southern League. So a local top division would have to draw more on those clubs in the lower divisions for those younger players to come through.
Yeah.
And then if you've got, let's say that Nelson Suburbs, make it through to National League or FC for that matter, then we've got to then have a Southern League side, and then each club has to have a first division side. So I guess it either makes those leagues younger, and it's like a Colts division league, but it certainly draws those players up, and the stocks might be a bit light.
Well,
I don't know.
Nelson's a transient place. A lot of people come here for work, traveling. I personally think it'll make it stronger. You've got more. You just got the standard of football should get higher. Obviously, the local league might take a bit of a dive, but it'll sort itself out.
Yeah,
you've got something to aspire to now. So the colleges have got something to aspire to. So.
And it's a good point because with the Marco, drawing quite a few players, although their rugby seasons aligned to cater for the fact that those players that make it into the Marco squad. But what it does do, those that aren't on the radar in the bigger centres move to Nelson to be on the radar. So potentially you might draw in some players that want to
if you look at Christchurch, for example, you've got two teams down. You might better draw some good players to come to Nelson because there's more of an opportunity.
Well, that's certainly when we had Richmond in the mainland, that certainly is what happened to us because those players were fed into Canterbury United or Canterbury Pride or whatever it was. Yeah. And so the players that we had halfway through the season were taken by Ferriby Bays or what have you. And the parents would explain to us, well, look, we want them to be on the radar for Canterbury United. And they've got more of a chance of doing that playing in Canterbury. So it does bring that into play if we go down that road.
And people love football. Nelson's a football community. Always has been quite strong, over the years. I know we've got the Giants and we've got the Marco, but football, look at the crowd we had on Saturday for FC Nelson, 500 or 600 people there. I guarantee Cashmere Tech play Auckland United next Sunday, the 24th English, but they won't get that. I'm telling you. The University boys actually said at the weekend, they thought the crowd got us the result.
Yeah.
He said they couldn't believe how many people were at the game. I said, well, this is regional football, mate.
Yeah.
This is what it's all about.
Yeah.
So look, bring it on. But,
good stuff. Also in New Zealand football news, the Ford football firms have named a squad for the upcoming international friendly matches in Santiago against Chile. And the first fixture will be played at in Florida on Saturday, the 24th of September. That's New Zealand time at 11 a.m. And the second fixture, which is a bit odd, will be played behind closed doors, will not be broadcast. This is on Chile's request. Played at Quillen Complex, I presume that's in Florida, on Wednesday, the 27th of September at 3 a.m. New Zealand time, if you're really keen.
Chile's asked to do that. They must have a tournament coming up and just don't want no one to see it.
Right.
Weird.
And yet they play the first fixture.
Yeah.
So maybe they're playing around with their squad, but they don't want the team to see their instructions. But the
people worry about their teams too much. It's like, University they want us to send the video of the game at the weekend. I just said, just send it.
Oh, I see. Yes.
It's not about them. It's about us. You know, I'm more worried about what we do. It's how you react.
Yeah.
How are you going to go in that fight, son? Let's worry about you winning that fight against him.
Yeah.
Lots of little cliches you can say, but I know there's a team environment and a team shape and that sort of thing, but closed doors, and the All Blacks do it, don't they? Oh, we don't want us to. Fozzie and them said, we don't want them to see our moves. Well, I've never seen any moves from an All Black team yet.
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment, anyway.
Well, they said that apparently the Taranaki coach against the Mako said had a speech to the sponsors, said we're going to do this and we're going to stop this guy, and they didn't do any of it.
No,
the Mako were able to get through their defence. So
the NPC, all the games, they look exactly the same.
Let's not get into this.
No, we won't talk about that. Yeah. All good.
You'll set Les off.
Yeah.
All right. So Chatham Cup, yes. Yeah. And Christchurch United did it on penalties. So I saw the highlights and Christchurch United ahead, and then the Melville United goalkeeper comes up and gets the equaliser right on the whistle.
I actually watched the game. It was actually quite a good game of football. The standard, I thought, was really quite high. Christchurch United 2-0 up, I think, through 2 own goals. Melville scored for them. And then second half, you could see the tide turning a wee bit, but Melville dominated possession, got a nice goal back, and then, I think it was 97th minute or something, keeper come up and poke one home, which you don't often see in football. So I had to go to extra time. It was a classic. But then, look, Christchurch United had enough chances on the break to actually win 2 games there, I thought. So I think, and they went to penalties. They won the shootout, which meant they won the game. I thought they deserved it.
Right.
I thought they were the better side. They created more chances. They just, I don't know, dropped off or sat a bit too deep second half and let Melville back into the game. But Melville did well. They had some good players, because they only finished 6th in the Northern region. So they've obviously had a good cup run there. And trouble is, the crowd, there's not many there. Might have been 1,000 plus, but there was a huge contingent of red and white from Hamilton, because that's where Melville's from. But,
yeah, right. Yeah.
But you got a Waikato team and a Canterbury team playing at North Harbour Stadium.
Yeah.
I think we're going to go away from that. Surely.
So in a cup game, how would you decide where they play? Because if they played at Christchurch, they probably would have had a big crowd. But
personally, wherever you finish in your regional leagues should get the home game.
Yeah, right.
Christchurch United won their league. Melville got 6th in their league.
Yes, right.
Christchurch United warrant that game to be played in Christchurch.
Yeah, and they would have got a reasonable crowd.
If you're playing Auckland City and you won your league, Auckland City won your league, go on goal difference or toss the coin. Someone's got to have it, or I don't know, somewhere. They always seem to have these games over North Harbour. Have you been to Albany, North Harbour State?
Yes, I have.
My brother lives there.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's miles from Auckland.
Yeah.
So you get to Auckland, then you got to drive to get out there, and it's right at the end of the sort of. Well, it's starting to grow now, but it's just it just seems a long way away. But the Hamiltonians seem to make the trip, and obviously there's some United fans there, which flew up from Christchurch, but I just think it could be promoted and done a wee bit differently.
Yeah.
If I was in charge.
Congratulations to Christchurch United. We've got the Chatham Cup in the South on, and congratulations to Matt Todd-Smith, captain, and the player that put the penalty away to win the game.
Yeah,
so
good lad.
Yeah, so well done, and remember him from what Biggsy used to call our little diamonds. We had a first division FC Nelson young side, and it had Matt Todd-Smith in it and Sam Wilson and quite a few young players that have gone on to do quite well. So it's great to see him in that position, captain of Christchurch United and now winner of a Chatham Cup. So very pleased for him indeed.
Well, it'll be a proud moment for him and his family, and it's no mean feat. I've done it for Miramar Rangers back in 1992, and I've no idea where the medal is, but I've won it. And so,
yeah, great memories.
My brother won it in 77 with Nelson United. Slotsy won it with Nelson United in 77. So you might only get one chance throughout your career, so you take it.
Yeah. So Geezer took a under-17 side down to Christchurch.
Yeah, well, it's been difficult because the season finished, and then the mainland decided on this under-17 league. So it's a Tasman United, basically a Nelson Marlborough Golden Bay combined team under the Tasman United name, and they had their first game on Sunday against Christchurch United down there, lost 7-0. But look, that Christchurch United, they're the Man City of New Zealand football with the setup, the academies. So that basically be academy side. So they'll be drawing on all the best players from around the colleges and Christchurch. I mean, they'd be strong. And Geezer would have had, obviously, we've been using 2 or 3 players in our squad that are in that, so that probably didn't play. So, yeah, difficult game. I think they've got Nomads at home on Sunday, so there's a game of football out at Saxton. I'm not too sure what the kickoff is, but it'll be on the website somewhere.
Well, I spoke to him yesterday by text because we were hoping to get him on to the show today, and he said he would be, but he's travelling or getting organised or prepared for the game. So he said he would be able to pop in next week so he can tell us about that. And, of course, we'll know the result from the playoff series. So we'll be able to talk about that as well.
Exactly.
All right, Bridie, were you going to get organised and get things ready for the trip down to Christchurch?
Yeah, driving down, a couple of vans tomorrow.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay, and we wish you all the best of luck for the game. Hopefully there's 1 or 2 FC supporters that can make it down to wave the flag.
Oh, yeah, well, there'll be people that live in Christchurch from Nelson. That's
true.
Koei Taripa will probably turn up and give us a hand. And
nice.
Yeah, look, we'll give it a go, son.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about.
Nothing to lose. Everything to the game.
Good stuff. All right. Good luck, Bridie, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Talk Nelson Radio. It's the Talk of Nelson.